Hey, welcome back to the show. We've got another week exploring the Boss Katana Mark II head, and this week I really want to dive into some of those classic thrash Bay Area tones like Metallica's Kill 'Em All and Exodus Bonded by Blood, and we're using the crunch mode with this, and I was just surprised how cool this mode is and how fun it is to play, and it really gives you that nasty sort of early Marshall Plexi style tone, which is super iconic for that era. So let's just get into it. And that's a pretty identifiable sort of tone there. It's classic Bay Area thrash, and that crunch mode just does it really well. Essentially with that, I've got the gain right up to 10. I've got an input EQ that's really scooping out some of the frequencies that I don't want to give it almost like a boxy sort of sound sometimes, but if you scoop out the input EQ around the 250k mark and then boost it around 500, you really get that nasty edge given to the tone. And on top of that, in the drive at the front, I've just put a rat distortion in there, which is the classic rat that James Hetfield used in his rig. But I have the gain on that, I think it's all the way down to pretty much nothing. And for some reason, if the gain just isn't there for you, if you've got different guitar or pickups aren't as hot, you've got that distortion in the front there that you can just turn up and just tweak to your liking. But essentially the essence of the tone is just there. There's an output EQ in there as well, but it's not doing too much. It's just, I think it's just taking off a little bit of the frequencies on the high end. But essentially most of the tone is just coming from that input EQ in just the way that you sculpt and you push certain frequencies, and that gives it that really nasty edge. But it's a really cool tone to play with, and it's one of my favorites. It's a really cool tone to play around with, and I've got heavy strings on this guitar, and you really got to dig your pick in and just sort of chunk it up and make it nasty. It's part of the tone to play really sort of heavy and heavy-handed with these. But essentially what you hear is what you get. I'm not doubling up guitars today or doing left and rights or making it complex so people think it doesn't sound like the record. I think the dynamics are all there, and it captures that plexi just really well, and it's got that nasty essence about the tone, the reverb and everything. It all just sits really nicely in that mix. It's all coming out of the Katana. And that reminds me, for capturing this video today, I'm not actually using the Mezzo Recto cab in the corner. I'm using the 2 notes Torpedo Captor X there behind me, but it's simulating and using the Recto cab. I've got the same Recto cab that I downloaded from the store, and it actually sounds pretty much exactly the same. The dynamics and the essence is all there. The only difference I find is when I put my isolation cabinet over the top of the Recto cab here, it's got its own sort of air and resonance and like a woody sort of tone to it. And pretty much that's what this is lacking in that regard. I do find that woody tone sometimes adds a little bit more like mids and punch to the sound, but I think this one is actually a nicer sound that comes out of the 2 notes Torpedo. So it's just easy as well in the room. I don't have any noise. The birds aren't getting deaf. And the preset that I've saved is really saved off just how I record with the Mezzo Recto myself, with the single SM57 just off the dust cap. And it's a great tone. So anyway, that's all the technical stuff out the way. Let's just play some riffs and explore the tones here. The next preset we'll get to is just a lead channel. I won't touch on it too hard because I've got no backing tracks to show you, and I don't really know too many solos off Kill 'Em All. It's more of just a riff out album for me, but it's got a really iconic sort of nasty edge to the tone. A little bit more mids going on, a little bit more bass, but essentially it's the same tone. And that's the lead tone off Kill 'Em All. I don't really know too many leads and I didn't practice any this week. I was just too much into the riffs. Oh, and I'll get to that later. But for now, all the guitar tones that we cover on the channel today, there's all links in the description for a playlist, as well as I'll put them up in the Boss Tone Exchange as well. But next, on to Bonded by Blood. It really is a similar sort of tone to Kill 'Em All, but I find it's got a little bit quackier in the mids. It's cleaner and it's not as in your face as Kill 'Em All, but at the same time it's nasty because it's a lot more raw. It's more classic tone to what was like the cheap recording setups that they had back then and the budgets that they were restrained to. But this is my tone for Bonded by Blood. And you get the idea there. It's a lot cleaner than it is on Kill 'Em All, but that's just how the sound was back then. Still have really fun with the riffs though. Gary was a beast. Those riffs too are just so much fun to play, and when your amp just sounds like that and it really captures that 80s feel perfectly, like it's perfect. I was going to get a Marshall Origin for a long time just to really just for these tones, just for the Randy Rhoads, just for the 80s classic sort of thrash tones and things, but really the Katana does it so well. I don't think I'm going to bother spending the money on a Marshall Origin. I'll get something else because I really am happy with this. It A's and B's beautifully against other things that I've got. It just captures the tone really well. I also added in a lead channel there for Rick and Gary on Bonded by Blood, and essentially the same thing too, just added a little bit more reverb, some mids, a bit more gain, but something else I really want to show you, and I'm sure you're looking at it in the video there. It's the LTD 600 Alexi Laiho guitar. And I love this guitar. I've had 3 of them over the years. I had like the Blackie and a Scythe. And this is the one that I bought broken with the lower wing that was broken off, and I actually did a video on how I restored it. I really like this guitar. It sounds heavier than Concrete Boots. It's a really chunky, great neck, great feeling guitar. But I was never happy with the finish and the paint jobs that I was doing on it. It's had so many identities over the years. It started off as that white guitar with all the Thrasher stickers and things. It looked really cool. I was happy with that. But then I wrecked it by thinking it was going to be cooler with a neck pickup in. And I actually did a video on that as well when I installed the neck pickup and routed it in. And I think the guitar just suits just the one pickup. I didn't like having the 2. It was pointless. I never used the neck pickup anyway. And so I took it back to just having the one pickup, filled it with a block of wood. There's photos there. Then it converted into the white with the black pinstripes. The clear coat that I had on that there was something wrong with the clear coat and it was contaminated and it had some really bad fish eyes, and as well the white was just too bright and I much prefer an aged looking white. Got rid of that, made it a satin black, which was like a Kerry King Exodus Thrasher looking guitar. That was cool, but it got boring on me and the finish was okay. And for a long time I've been planning on getting the black with the yellow bevels, as to me it's probably the most iconic looking guitar from Alexi. It's how, I guess it's his guitar that I remember him playing the most. It might not be the guitar that he used the most, but to me it's just the most iconic that he used. I never really see them around, and I just wanted to really restore it back to being an Alexi Laiho, and fantastic player and everything about it. So it's there, it looks really good. I buffed the clear and you can't feel the yellow at all on the seams. Like it actually looks pretty good. I'm sort of happy with my finish. I really rush things when I paint them. I use a lot of the epoxies. I don't use enamels. I don't use like pressure packs or anything. I've got a spray gun. I use it at work for touching up aircraft and stuff. So I can paint. I'm not really good though. But I think if you put in the time and you do a nice big thick clear coat, this was 4 or 5 clear coats over that, just so that it hides that yellow bevel altogether. And after that, I just really sand it down and buff it down. And it's not meant to look brand new. It's an old guitar. There's wear on it. It just looks in the same condition as all the others, but I got to show it to you. I was going to save this for another video for next week, but it's too much fun to play and I'm enjoying it too much since I've restored it. And so this has the EMG H4 passive pickup in it, and this is a ceramic high output passive humbucker. I've had the Alexi ALX set in the past, the ones with the EQ switches in it, and to be honest, I didn't like it that much. I sold it on one of the guitars that I did sell. I think the Scythe model I left on it. But I really love this EMG HZ-H4 pickup. Even though it's passive, it's got this really aggressive sort of chunk to it that EMG 81s don't have. It's got a real articulation to every little pick. It makes you a better guitar player by using it because it shows up all your mistakes, but at the same time, it can really show off the nuance of the guitar and make you a better player. Your riffs can really pop out and you get some really great chunks. And this is an Alexi tone that I've dialed in. I've got this and the solo tone in the playlist I'll have in the description for this week, but it's just too much fun and I wanted to show off this guitar. I'm really stoked with how it turned out. It's just so much fun to play this. But Alexi's tone, it's a really super mid-focused, just a mid-focused tone, and I've using the brown channel for this. I've got plenty of EQ pushing and boosting the 500k region in the input. It's also scooping out that 250 to get rid of that boxy sort of sound. There's not much going on in the output at all. It's just really just the gain, lots of mids, that input EQ, and this is the tone that I'm getting. And it's just a really fun guitar to play. It's just got everything that it should have. It's just basic, it's bare bones, one pickup, one volume knob. The neck is perfectly straight. It never changes. Up here in the tropics in North Queensland, I really have a problem with like seasonal changes in the weather from wet season to dry season and so forth. And things that have mahogany necks in this, like the Jackson Dominion, an old Gibson Explorer that I had, they were horrendous at just trying to stay in tune all year round. And every time I pick it up, I've got to do a neck adjustment. So there you have it. I'm just really excited that I've sort of restored it back to where I think it's just iconic for me as a signature guitar for Alexi. I think he's such a great guitar player. But anyway, I'll think of something else to talk about next week. Really fun. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, all the presets are in the description. They're on the Boss Tone Exchange. And any questions, feel free to ask. And see you next time. Take care. Bye.